Yes, guys, welcome back to the YouTube. I hope everyone is doing well. Happy Tuesday. It is the 20th of January. And as always, this is some free daily daily market analysis for you guys. So without jumping onto the chart straight away, I just want to quickly mention that the content on this channel is for educational and informational purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing shared in my videos should be considered financial investment or trading advice. Trading and investing always involves risk, and you should, do your own research before making any financial decisions. Any past performances discussed by myself does not guarantee future results. Also, you are always responsible for your own financial decisions. So, with that being said, let's get straight into the charts, and hopefully you guys can see my screen pretty clear. So as of today, 20th of Jan, Tuesday, we have had obviously this morning Great British Pound red folder news here. And then going into today, we obviously have Great British Pound again at 10:45, so it's about an hour and a bit away. But no US dollar news as of today. And then obviously tomorrow we do have, obviously red folder news for the US dollar. But as of today, more so the Great British Pound red folder news. So that is something that we need to obviously keep in mind. Even though yesterday we had no US dollar red folder news, if you guys obviously remember, we said like, there might not be any potential volume in the markets. And yesterday there was volume in the markets, which is crazy. And there's volume today as well, which is, yeah, pretty nuts. But yeah, going into the US dollar. For me, obviously, I was bullish on the dollar until, at least this daily supply area. We was extremely choppy here. And obviously we created these equal highs. But yeah, we've just not been given anything to obviously go bullish or even bearish for the past week or so. If you guys remember, we were saying it's so choppy in here, it's more of a 4 hour trend. So, nothing was clear as day, but finally we've got something to work with, I guess, where we have now broke this, low here, and we can obviously work with that. We can work towards, having a bias for dollar sells and potentially coming into this daily supply area, taking out these lows here. That is something that we can obviously keep an eye on, but at the same time, understand that we do have an unmitigated daily demand area here. And with this daily demand area, you can see that the market failed to tap in. We've still got some imbalance above that. So, could this be an area where market has the reaction from the reversal to maybe then go bullish? That is, something that we have to consider. If we look at the charts from a naked eye, you can see currently, as of right now, we have a daily supply candle, but this area here, we obviously broke below. We come up, pretty much filled in, the imbalance and pretty much tapped into that daily supply. And then we've obviously had that that bearish movement away. So, we do have this daily supply, which, didn't get tapped into, but it pretty much did, fill in this imbalance on a pullback. Which leads me on to now the 4 hour. And with that being said, the 4 hour is obviously extremely bearish now. We've got an hour and 45 minutes left on this 4 hour candle, and if it can, finish breaking below this, my bias is definitely 4 hour, short. So we can keep an eye on that, of course. Going into the actual dollar itself, you can see that it has been pretty clean, even though it's melted off with supply canals. Obviously we didn't mitigate this supply. So we had a pullback, we come back down. Where did we come back into? We come into this supply area here where we had some imbalance, and then we got that movement away. We got that movement away. Where did we pull back into? Well, we pulled back into this 4 hour supply area here. We didn't touch the one, but we did obviously have this 4 hour supply, which you can see pull back into that, and now we're melting away. So same scenario pretty much on the four is this little probably 1 hour pullback here would be my next area of supply, 4 hour supply. If I drop down to the 2 and the 1 hour, can we see something It's a little bit more cleaner. Yeah, we can. So you can see on here, that is my 4 hour supply, which is here. And that's pretty much where I've been looking for the markets to, come back into. Can we see a retracement of, some sort into this to then obviously carry on downwards? Now, from a 1 hour perspective, you want to look for a supply area in a bit more of a, smaller zone. You can obviously have this one here. And then always, as always, I'm always aware that the fact that we have left some sort of imbalance, above this. And because we've left some sort of imbalance above that, I'm just always aware of that. I'm always aware of that, of understanding that the market could punch above because that is an imbalance. And obviously this is, 1 hour supply area as well, which is unmitigated. So, you know, take that with a pinch of salt. But what I'm trying to say is we could, potentially punch into this imbalance or punch into this supply and then get that movement away, of course. That is obviously one scenario. Or we can obviously just react from, either this 4 hour or this 1 hour supply area to carry on downwards for the dollar. So hopefully that's pretty easy to understand. It should be. Leading on to Euro USD. If we just go to the four, we don't necessarily need to go. Well, we'll go to the daily because that's what we do anyway. You guys remember yesterday we talked about, there was a 4 hour and 1 hour imbalance here, which has been a catapult to obviously have this fly 85. And as you guys can come to see, stop loss below the low. You guys can probably see we're currently at like a 1 to 5 with that, which is, pretty sick. So that is obviously that scenario from this 4 hour. If you're not sure where that 4 hour is, if you look, it was this 4 hour imbalance and 1 hour imbalance whilst we had this 4 hour demand area here, which was unmitigated. We didn't tap into this from here. So market has come back, corrected itself, and now obviously carried on upwards. Now, for me personally, the next day I'm looking to see a reaction from is this 4 hour supply because it's unmitigated. But my priorities right now are buys. Definitely are buys, and what I'll be trying to look for is can we see some sort of pullback to, get in? As of right now, obviously we had a failed pullback into this demand. We went bullish. We then pulled back into this area of demand here, where this imbalance started. I'll show you from the naked eye. You can see we had a little imbalance here. This is where our demand area was. We pulled back, and then we got this bullish move away. That would have been, for anyone that was looking for, getting in Euro USD, that would have been the area that you guys would have looked to get into yesterday. I think it should have done like a 1 to 3 almost, yeah. Or definitely done a 1 to 2.5. So that would have been one area. Obviously, as of right now, it would have been ideal to get a pullback into here and then this, and I'm not counting it out. It can still happen because we have a lot of imbalance, and that would be my area that I would be keeping an eye on. But if we just look at the 2 and the 1, can we see anything different? Can we see anything different? Yeah, we can go off the fact that we obviously have like this little pullback here as a 1 hour demand. But for me personally, not to, come in here and, obviously lie to you to say, yeah, I would be buying from here. It could obviously react from here, but just my priority would be this 4 hour demand area and using this as a liquidity. That's just me personally. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Going into GBP again, you guys can see, if you look at the daily, just quickly, we talked pretty much about still being in this demand area, but the structure was, selling. If you look at GU pretty closely, you can see the fact that, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, broke this last, obviously higher low, created a new higher low, lower high, a new lower low. So what we was expecting is market to, just obviously carry on like this. Now again, we haven't quite had that. The market's come back into this demand area. It's used, these lows as liquidity. took the liquidity and now we're getting that bullish move away. Now we are still in this daily range from this high to this low here, but depending on obviously the dollar, I am favoring more buys right now. Just because if I look at the four, this 4 hour supply has been mitigated already by this pullback. Now, of course, we can, dissect that and see we've got a 1 hour supply in there, which we can obviously see now. But for me, everything is mitigated in this area. This supply area has been completely mitigated. So that's why I'm not really interested in shorts from this supply. It might be a bad idea, it might be a good idea. I'm not too sure until we obviously figure it out as time goes on. So as of right now, if we look at the daily, first scenario is you can see we had this bullish candle, we pull back into this demand area, and then we got this bullish move away. So I'd probably be looking at around this area here as an area of daily demand. If I go to the four, does that align up with anything on the four? Let me just double check. So I'll go to the four, and as you guys can see, that daily demand area is this 4 hour. Now, this 4 hour pullback, when we obviously went above, you can see that this wick already mitigated this 4 hour demand candle. So we already mitigated this 4 hour demand candle, and then we got that bullish move away. So for me personally, as you guys can probably see, I will be looking more so towards this area here. And if I go to the 2 or the 1 hour, it's a little bit more clearer. You can see that we had this pullback into here. Obviously, caught the bias from here. Now I'll be expecting the same scenario if it was to carry on bullish to be from this area here. So hopefully that makes sense. If anyone did catch the reaction from here, it probably is around the 1 to 3. Yeah, 1 to 3 over 1 to 3, which is again a beautiful trade. Hopefully some of you guys catch that. I didn't catch or trade GU. Just so you guys know, did catch some beauties though, which I'll talk about. But yeah, NZ, I am not interested in at the moment in time. Nothing's giving a significant, reaction from. Obviously, as you guys can see, we broke above this daily high. I'm expecting a pullback eventually to carry on. And then I'll be looking at targeting us getting around these daily supply areas here. So again, plenty of room to, obviously look for them, maybe swing trade ideas. But yeah, hopefully you guys can see why. You can see we have obviously broke up of this high. This was the last sell candle that caused the break of structure or change of trend. And yeah, we've got quite a lot of imbalance. So that's what I'll be looking for. If we drop to the four, nothing's clean. Nothing's clean for me to even look for anything as of right now. So yeah, that is me. And yeah, that's NU is not one of my favorites, as you guys can probably tell. Now going into AUD USD, one sec, you can see that we haven't broken this high like we have with NZ USD, but you can see that we're reacting, strongly from these demand areas. Now, first thought is this is obviously a daily demand. I'm expecting a pullback into this. Like this. I'm expecting to pull back into this to go and break these highs and, obviously get that bullish move away. Now, if I just keep this on the hourly chart, just for a sec, and I go to the 4 hour, you can probably see everything's pretty much corrective in here. If you look at this, the market has been this area of demand on the four got mitigated by this pullback. Then we got the bullish move away. I was waiting for a pullback into this demand area to try and get into this trade, but we didn't get that. So that is a fresh, obviously, demand area here, imbalance above. But as you guys can see, as we had this pullback, we pulled up again. where do we come into? We come into this demand area um, here. So for me, if we're just going to carry on this bullishness, the next demand area that I'd be looking out for is this demand area to go and carry on from here. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. We can now get rid of this, and you guys can see mitigated, mitigated, unmitigated, unmitigated. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense in regards to AUD USD. Pretty clear to see on the four. So yeah, let's see if we can get maybe a potential pullback into this demand area. Going into USD CHF, just trending, man. Like this, it just melted off. So there's not much that I can really talk about with USD CHF. If I go to the four, I can't look for anything as of right now because it's just dumping and dumping and dumping. So yeah, USD CHF is not one of my favorites. Yesterday, I had a break even on USD Japanese yen, which, yeah, I can't remember where the bloody hell it was from. Um, anyway, it doesn't matter. You guys can go watch yesterday's analysis. I talked about the supply area that I was looking from. Oh, here it is. It was from, I think, this supply area here. This is where we reacted from, but we failed to break this low. We come back up and obviously tap me out at break even, which was here. So yeah, we had a break even from this supply area here. So that is obviously that. And as of right now, you guys remember when I was talking, sorry, it wasn't this one actually, but you guys will know that obviously we have this 4 hour supply area which was unmitigated, and that's why we're getting some dump away from. But if I'm analyzing USD Japanese yen or any of the Japanese pairs, I'm always looking at the Japanese yen basket. Like that is the same as when I'm trading major pairs. I'm looking at the US dollar. So if Japanese yen basket, but let's go to the daily. For me right now, my priority is sells. You can see that these red rectangles basically, obviously talk about the expansion, the green are talking about the pullbacks and so on and so on. So if you look at this scenario right here, we failed to obviously come into this daily supply here. We then obviously broke away. This has now come into this daily supply area on the Japanese yen basket, and now we're getting a dump off. So for me, really daily it should be breaking and attacking this low here, because this is the range that we are currently in. So if you look right now at the 4 hour, you'll be able to see that, of course, we're reacting out of this 4 hour demand, which is obviously sweet. But for me, we should be taking like these lows. That's my analysis on that. I'm expecting these lows to be taken out. Could I be wrong? Yes, of course I could be wrong. But that's just me personally, thinking from a daily perspective. And obviously, if you look at the 4 hour, where I'll be looking next from is, trying to see if we can see a reaction from this 4 hour supply area. Everything's been pretty corrective and sweet. If you look at this market, we obviously had a dump off, pull back into this supply area, move away. So now I'll be expecting to see if we can get, this potential. But again, with it reacting out of this 4 hour demand area, if you guys want to look for longs on any of the other pairs, or sorry, I'll go over that in a second. But if you want to look for your Japanese yen basket longs into this supply, you can do that, which obviously would mean shorts, which is pretty much done into this demand area. So yeah, again, if you look at how we're reacting from this supply, this is not aligning up with us potentially coming to this 4 hour supply. So what that could tell me is if this was to go bullish, we could break below this 4 hour demand. But let's see. Let's see how we react from this USD Japanese yen area. Let's see. Let's see. We could get a reaction from here back into this supply and then dump off. But for me, I am prioritizing the longs because I want to prioritize the shorts on Japanese yen basket. Hopefully that makes sense. Bit confusing, but Yeah. Now going into the cross pairs, look, I missed two beauties here. I'm not even gonna lie. I've missed obviously a buy scenario from here, and then we talked yesterday about the sell scenario. So I'm praying that, well, I'm not because I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm praying that some of you guys seen it as we talked about it from this, supply area, and potentially caught this trade idea. You'll have to let me know if anyone did, or even if you just marked it up, please let me know in the comment section below. But as of right now, that is an absolute beauty. A 1 to 5 has just been done on here from this 1 hour supply area that we talked about. So, yeah, man, beauty of a trade. Now, going into this as of right now, I'm going to wait to see if this significant low can get broke, but I am, prioritizing the sells until we break this high. And if we do that, I expect to pull back into this 4 hour supply to then go and attack lower. And where that would be around this area here, this 4 hour supply area, filling it in balance. But we got an hour and a half to see how this candle finishes on there. CHF Japanese yen. You can see perfectly from this daily demand candle. This pulled back into this level here. We had two daily demands, which was one here and then one a little bit lower here. But as you guys can see, we reacted, perfectly from that. We pull back into this daily demand, filled in the imbalance, and then we're getting this bullishness away from here right now. So same scenario for CAD Japanese yen. We've got obviously the rest of today to finish above this, and then probably target this as our next daily demand area. If we drop down to the 4, by the way, let me just mark this out on the 4 hour. There we go. So yeah, looking at this, I want to see how we obviously react to them. But as of right now, I'm not interested in marking CAD Japanese yen. Just want to talk about and show you guys some of the thing ones. Currently in obviously this scenario, Euro Japanese yen, which I am at break even. Beauty of a trade. I'll just quickly show you guys. If you would have caught from here, for instance, stop loss at the low, this would have been an absolute gorgeous trade. 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, 1 to 7 accomplished on there. But yeah, pretty easy to see. We talked about Euro Japanese yen targeting these highs, if you guys remember. Now again, if we look from a daily, sorry, you can see that the market is, of course, um, bullish. You can see that that was a higher high, higher low, higher high. We've tapped into this daily demand, and we should be able to, target this high. But it's the same scenario as the Japanese yen basket. If you look at the Japanese yen basket, we are reacting from a 4 hour supply demand candle. So going back to this scenario, if you look at the 4, where are we currently reacting from? Well, look, we're reacting from this level of supply area here. So if anyone is in this, for instance, be extremely wary and careful. Don't risk profits, being flushed away and hitting you out at break even. But if he was to pull back, what I'd be interested in is potentially this 4 hour demand area here to obviously target them highs. That would be my next 4 hour demand area that I'll be looking out for. So yeah, that is somewhere that you guys can keep an eye on. Obviously, for the ones that are in this trade, it's the same as anything, man. You don't want it to pull back this low, and you just want it to carry on and obviously take out this high. But yeah, hopefully you guys understand that you could have caught some absolute beautiful profits in here. 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, 1 to 4s, 1 to 5s, so on and so on. So yeah, man, that was a clean trade. And then we also have GJ again, which was beautiful. Same scenario, man. It's if you look at the daily on GJ, we have obviously this bullish scenario from this higher low to this higher high. Um, and yeah, rinse and repeat. Where does the market come back into? This last daily demand candle where the imbalance obviously was above, and then we get that bullishness away. If you drop down to the four, there's a 4 hour, bit more precise area here where the imbalance started. We come back in, and then we obviously have this beauty of a trade. And as you guys can see, this doesn't mean that this is where my take profit is, by the way, if anyone's thinking this is where I'm aiming to aim for. I'm just showing you a scenario that, we want to see this high broke. But yeah, as you guys can see, it is doing absolutely flying. And a beauty of a trade. So what would I be looking for right now? Well, same scenario. If you just go off this, you can see that this is mitigated. We pull back into this area. This area here has been mitigated by this. So what I'd be waiting for is, can we see some sort of pullback into this level of demand area here to potentially carry on to attack these highs? That's what I'd be looking out for, going into the rest of this week. So hopefully we can see that. That's what I'll be keeping an eye on. If you look, the 1 hour is obviously now coming down into that area. So yeah, man, that'll be the next area. And then NZ, I think I talked about, I wasn't really that interested in yesterday. If you look at this scenario now, we just missed our daily demand area, and we now have printed new higher highs. So if you look at this, that'll be my valid higher low. See how today finishes. If today finishes as it is, then we can obviously look to target this daily demand candle. So yeah, man, that is pretty much it for today. Hopefully you guys, got some value. I appreciate you guys as always. And yeah, man, we'll be back tomorrow at the same time as always. Well, I said same time, it can change. Today's a little bit earlier. But yeah, leave some comments in the comment section if you want anything answering. And if you guys have took any of the ideas, obviously from these videos, potentially helping you, please let me know by dropping me a message on Instagram. My @ is @coached by Chambers, or you guys can just let me know in the comment section below. But other than that, have an amazing rest of your Tuesday. See you tomorrow. Take care. God bless.